Hey Ziggy, just FYI, I'm not hearing anything. So,
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Sold with Updike Pugh.
I'm Jeff Updike.
I'm Weston Pugh, and today we've got great homes of East Dallas, and we're going to have Jeremy Radcliffe from SWBC come in and talk to us a little bit about what's happening in the world of mortgages.
Yes.
Great segment. We had some great time touring the homes, and we can't wait to share them with you. But first up, how was your weekend, Jeff?
It was good. It was good. It was busy. I showed property this weekend and laid in the pool. That was really it.
You had a good weekend.
It was a very good weekend. It was very different than many than weekends, than 4th of July weekends in past, because, you know, we used to have like a really big 4th of July party where we'd have 100 people show up and have hot dogs and hamburgers and lay in the pool, and that didn't happen this year.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because I woke up Sunday morning to kind of an alarmed text from one of our clients, and that we had helped them purchase an investment property, and lo and behold, they went over the weekend and there was somebody in the house. Not just in the house as in squatting in the house, as in I've brought my refrigerator, I've hung my art, and I'm living in the house, and it happened pretty much overnight. And long story short, it was just someone who had been scammed, thought that they were actually renting a property and they weren't. And then over the next 4 days, we saw multiple other issues that people were having. You ran into one at an open house.
Yeah. There was one of the big ways that people will scam is they'll find a house that is empty in MLS, vacant in MLS, and then they will post it on Craigslist, or they'll even put it on Zillow for lease, and they'll offer it at some ridiculously low price.
Right.
And they, tell people, oh, just go over and look in the windows and, see if it's what you like. I've got a lot of people doing it, but, the first one to send me money is the one that's going to get it.
Yeah.
And, when you send them money, they disappear.
Yeah, and it was interesting, too, that then on Monday, Cynthia Payne and Drennan also posted that had happened to one of her listings as well. And so my clients were like, does this happen all the time? And I think that right now, the way that we're kind of in this renter struggle with the current economy, I think that this might be something that you want to be a little more conscientious of. I think the best line that I've heard, if it's too good to be true, it is.
Yep.
And this definitely applies to this scenario for sure.
Definitely does. What did you do this weekend besides field that call?
I fielded that call. Yesterday I showed property, found my client a place, a really great 3-bedroom townhome. It's perfect. And she got the corner unit. It overlooks the dog park. It's got a walking trail, well within her budget, and it just worked out kind of kismetly. So very excited about that for her.
There's still lots of activity in the market, and certainly in the first-time homebuyer price point, and then that next little rung of move up. Even from our friends that deal in the really high dollar stuff, they say that market is it's going gangbusters right now.
And I think we're seeing, and I've heard this even from friends that we have in Austin, that right now, because inventory is a little bit tightened up, that things are going well over list at times, and multiple offer situations. So again, we're seeing it where we're having to help our buyers navigate and put their best foot forward, just to be able to be in the running.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. If you're interested in buying a house, it really, honestly, is still a good time. If you're comfortable with your employment and you feel like, that part of your world is secure, then it is a great time to buy a house.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So without further ado, let's jump into these great
Let's
East Dallas homes.
Jump into these. The first one that we're going to look at today is at 621 Cordova, and this is a really great neighborhood. It's in Hollywood Heights, Santa Monica neighborhood, which has a really fantastic history to it. Hollywood Heights, Santa Monica is located very, very close to the southern tip of White Rock Lake, and then it is by Samuel Grand Park. This area was developed in the 1920s by a man named
J.B. Salmon.
J.B. Salmon, who bought a dairy farm that was there and started and created the Hollywood Company, which is what created all of this development lots. Much of this area has it's got such great accessibility to the lower portion of the lake, to downtown. You've got some really great straight shots into commercial districts that you're going to find, that if you are at the point when you do start going back to the office,
right,
it's going to be a great area for you. And this house itself is a great work from home house.
Yeah, and the area too. So just for me, I'm going to love myself some neighborhood services, and they actually brought in a new restaurant concept called Speed Racer. It's about 5 minutes from here, and it is amazing. Still can get takeout there, so if you're looking for something, I know we're still all ordering out and sitting on patios. Check out Speed Racer. It's close by, and you'll really enjoy it.
Yeah. So come by and look at this house with us if you would. 621 Cordova Street, 4 bedrooms, 2 full baths, 1 half bath, 2-car garage, a little over 2,500 square feet. Is one of those picturesque Norman Rockwell neighborhood drive-up, front porch sitting houses.
And so the landscape just really is a really great start off. Curb appeal is critical, and they've done an amazing job. And then it opens up to that front porch. And inside, you see how well this floor plan lays out. Again, we talk about what buyers want, and they really want fit and finish, and they want to be able to walk in and see an open floor plan. The wood floors have been redone, and the great thing about the floors is that they're also done matte, which is one of those really key elements that you don't know you want, but are right there.
The floor plan itself is really that very popular open kitchen concept into the dining area. It flows into the living room. They've done a really nice job with the solid surface countertops on this, the farm sink, the stainless steel appliances, new dishwasher, new microwave just done this year. The backsplash on this was really, what do you call that? It's kind of a harlequin.
Almost a harlequin. It's an inlaid tile.
Yeah, but it's just done beautifully. And then this is the home office, and it is sitting on the front of the house. You've got really great light, and then you've got this really fantastic powder room
just off of it. And it's amazing. They did a great job with the color selects. And also downstairs is this enormous master bedroom. And this bedroom is perfectly lit, and it's symmetrical. So it's easy to know that you have a division between the living space and then also where you bed. And this is then a really well done, renovated master bathroom. And then we're going to jog upstairs quickly. And this is the second living room.
Yep, it's the second living room with the vaulted ceilings. Great space up here. You've got 2 bedrooms, one on either end of the house. This is the bedroom. I believe this one's on the front of the home, if I'm not mistaken. And then I think I got my pictures out of order. I think this is back down in the master. I'm sorry. And then we get to go outside, and this is a incredible pool. Just really done well. Nice, big. I'm guessing that's probably like a 15 by 15 pergola.
Right.
And I love pergolas.
And so the other thing too that we found that this was really great for was they've done a lot of the outdoor spaces turf grass as well. So it's a low maintenance. There's an electrical gate also at the front of the house, which makes this just a really overall perfect home.
So 621 Cordova Street, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, 2-car garage, a little over 2,500 square feet, $729,000, which brings it in at a great price of $286.78 per square foot. And we want to say thank you to Malcolm and Ashley Ross for letting us talk about their home.
Yep. Thank you so much. Beautiful home. Yep. If you'd like more information, in the comments below, there's an actual link to this property. Click on it. If it's also something you would like to see firsthand, we'd be happy to get you in. Give us a call, private messages, let us know, and we'll do that for you.
Absolutely.
All right.
So now we're going to zip to the north of there. This is a really, really great neighborhood. The address is 4331 Camden Avenue. This is a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath, 2-car garage, a little over 3,600 square feet, priced at $1,080,000. And it is a really convenient neighborhood that is between Greenville Avenue and Skillman, just north of Mockingbird. The accessibility on this one to food, dining, grocery stores, hospitals, Weston, everything is really right there.
And the other thing too is if you look on the map right there, you can see what is clearly defined as a small pocket neighborhood. And that's one of the things that you'll find in the homeowners that live here, that it is a true neighborhood in that sense. People know each other. You would know when people are coming in and out of the neighborhood. It's just a really great overall vibe. One of the things that keeps this neighborhood from really expanding is that there is a rail that runs right behind that. So it does have a limitation, that and Mockingbird. So it's not like one of these neighborhoods that'll continue to grow and you're not sure of what it could become. It's really amazing.
It really is. And the home itself was completed just a couple of years ago.
Yep.
And is a really fantastic drive up to the front. They've created a retaining wall there around it that really kind of holds the lot and kind of pulls it back from the street a bit, I think.
And many times we get into these newer modern ranch farm houses and they experiment with materials that don't quite work, but they have done an excellent job. This is a 24 gauge rawhide finished outer metal that works so well. And as you come inside, you can see that they've done things like we've got a cement floor, but the cement floor was actually dusted with a charcoal black that gave it a deeper, richer tone than just what you would see in a regular driveway. The floating fireplace there in the middle separates both the dining room from the living room, but then it swings around into a really open concept kitchen.
Yeah, this home really reminds me of, it's so well done, it's kind of like a high-end restaurant.
It's amazing. So you have Calcutta backsplash, and the dark cabinets are amazing because the lighter ones are above, the darker black ones are below, and it just really begins to swing itself together. They've done a really great job of adding extra elements to it. If you notice there is a retractable glass garage door to an outside, and we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, this is the hallway that's coming down from the main living area back toward the master bedroom, and they use the barn door, and barn doors I think kind of get overused from time to time. This one is done and used so perfectly on the entrance and on the entry to the bathroom.
Beautiful light again from the windows. It's done in a symmetrical pattern as you follow into that freestanding tub. The glass shower enclosure is amazing. It's seamless walk-in. And again, we're getting the cement through. One of the amazing things is that this closet, I don't know if we're going to creep all the way in, but it is a huge closet, well organized and great space.
We creeped in.
We creeped in. And one of my favorite elements is that it's got a washer and dryer both downstairs in the master, but then you're going to find one upstairs as well. Speaking of upstairs, this is the first landing or the landing upstairs.
Mm-hmm. This is the bedroom upstairs, one of two full bedrooms plus this area that they currently have set up as a gym. And it is a nice, big, real open, airy room with the vaulted ceilings. That is a commercial grade window on the front there. One of the other things to note about this home is it has foam insulation on all the exterior walls and then bad insulation actually in the interior walls.
The actual framing is also 2x6, which really allows for a deeper insulation cavity to keep that cool air.
Sorry.
I was just going to say, as you can see here, this is an amazing backyard.
Yeah.
You've got your space for grilling, entertaining. It works indoor, outdoor. There's a little catwalk at the top that you can see from this angle. Just overall, they did not miss a beat on this home.
They did not, and privacy is just fantastic. So we have 4331 Camden Avenue. It's a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath, 2-car garage built in 2020, a little over 3,600 square feet, priced at $1,080,000, and that brings it in about $299 a square foot.
And we want to say thank you so much to Kimberly Gromadsky for letting us highlight your home. It
Absolutely.
Was amazing.
It was amazing. Thank you, Kimberly.
And again, just like on Camden, if you'd like more information about this, click in the link below in the comments. You can see that, and if you'd like to take a tour of it, let us know. We'll be happy to make that happen.
We will. So be sure to like, share, subscribe, and we will be right back. There are lots of ways to keep up with us. Visit and like our Facebook page to watch us live and get updates about future show topics. Also, visit our Instagram account where you can see the latest homes we have for sale. You can also check out our website at updikepugh.com where you can create customized searches of active and sold homes that you may find of interest. If you'd like to know how much your home is worth, visit homeprice.fyi and you can get a price instantly. Just enter your address and a couple of other pieces of information and we will email you a price. If you are on the go and podcasts are better for you, our second segments are available on iTunes and Spotify. Last of all, you can reach out to us by phone or text at 214-377-2223. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to our second segment today. And we have invited Jeremy Radcliffe to come back on the show with us and kind of give us an update in the financial world. Jeremy's with SWBC Mortgage and is one of our lending partners. And just, Jeremy, welcome to the show.
Great. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Excellent. Great. Perfect. Well, good to connect with you guys. I was interesting hearing about some of the stuff happening over the weekend for y'all. I can't imagine a squatter in the house.
What did you do this weekend?
We actually just got back from, it's kind of as a sad story, yet a good story. My parents celebrated their 50th anniversary this last year. We were supposed to go to Alaska, but you can imagine that got canceled. So instead, we all quarantined the last couple of weeks, and then we met up in Destin, Florida. So it was great. We got a big house, beach. It was wonderful.
That's great.
Really great trip.
I'm so glad you got to do that.
Yeah, we did. It was great getting to, gosh, I haven't seen all my brothers and kids, and our kids had a great time. So we had a really great trip. And Destin right now is gorgeous.
I'll bet.
It's beautiful.
So what's going on in the financial world?
Gosh, you know what? I feel like every time I chat with you guys, I think I'm going to run out of news to share, but it just keeps happening. So I just read a couple of headlines stating that the Mortgage Bankers Association expecting mortgage lending to be at a 14-year high right now. And a lot of that's just driven by the lower interest rates. So we're seeing rates are now all over again. They are at all-time lows. So I won't say the exact details, but I was able to lock a 30-year under in the twos this last week, which is just incredible. So
For 30 years?
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? So obviously there's dynamics to all of that. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just, we're kind of now at this all-time new, and the outlook, and a lot of it's just being driven by what's going on with COVID. The outlook is that rates are going to continue to stay low. So what we're seeing, at least on our side, refinances are still really big. We've seen a lot of purchases. I think it's maybe slowed down a little bit as a result of the holiday, which seems pretty normal. But I think people are getting back in to start looking again. And I don't know how much lower they could go. I mean, we're not complaining, but I'll tell you, mortgage lenders as a whole are trying to manage the volume. Yeah. It's just so much volume that it's causing, it's delaying some of the processes. Not that closings are getting delayed, but what's happening, at least on our term, we're prioritizing purchases, but we basically had to tell our refinance clients, like, hey, we promise we will get you closed. We just won't have a close date until we know where we can get you put in. So, but volume is definitely a big issue right now for lenders.
How has the COVID changed, like, lending guidelines and
So one of the big issues that's come up recently is, so two things. Anybody that's been furloughed from their current job, that's been an issue. I think we talked about that. If you've been furloughed, or you had a position and now you've either been temporarily furloughed or maybe even lost their jobs, but we've run into that where that's prevented people from being able to close on their homes. That's obviously a factor. The other factor that we're seeing really come into play right now is for people who are self-employed. So Fannie and Freddie together, they came out with different guidelines, but they said, hey, wherever Fannie's saying one thing and Freddie's saying the other, we're basically all on the same page. So interpret it as the same. But what we're having to do for self-employed borrowers, and that's people who either have their own businesses, they're having to take that information. We're just having to get a lot more granular. So we're now having to look at business bank statements for the last 2 months. We're having to get profit and loss statements. Clients are having to write up just a quick narrative explaining how has COVID-19 affected your business. And it's really it's made it a little bit harder for me and what we do, because we try to do a really in-depth approval on that. In some cases, it's really it becomes an underwriter's discretion to figure out, hey, what has happened to someone's income as a result of COVID-19. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so
it does.
That's a really big issue, and I don't know if that's going to change. And because what's happened right now, if you think about it, taxes, 2019 taxes were delayed until this next week. So you could have people who are qualifying off of their 2018 tax returns, which was, I mean, you're almost 24 months from when that was filed, or a year and a half. And so what they're having to do is just verify, hey, where's the income look right now if you're self-employed? So
Interesting.
that's a big factor. Yeah.
What is have you seen an impact of the forbearance that was built into the first stimulus package?
So forbearance has, we've been getting consistent updates on kind of what that looks like or how we're supposed to manage that. If you had someone who was in forbearance, they basically have to be caught up. And that was one of the things that was, it was a ready, fire, aim. If you ask most lenders how CFPB handled that whole thing, because it put a lot of pressure on lenders to try to figure out how are they supposed to handle these updates, because lenders were still responsible for making those payments to the investors, to the GSEs. And so what's happened on the forbearance side is they've created guidelines along with, I think one good benefit has been that there's been some clarity on, does that lump sum forbearance amount have to be paid back in 180 days or 360 days? I think they've created some clarity on that for clients, which has probably been really needed. But on the actual lending guidelines, it still comes down there. We've got so many different metrics on where people fit in that whole process. So what I would recommend people who are considering forbearance is, because I know this is happening, because I've talked to people who said, hey, I'm thinking about just claiming forbearance. Not that I really need it, but I like the cash flow. I would highly recommend people don't do that, because in some cases, even though it's not supposed to report negatively on your credit report,
Interesting.
we've seen situations where that is still reporting, and it just has to be updated. So does that help?
If you so the guidelines that you were talking about on the repayment, the clarity that you'll finally have on that, what are
So
those?
it's my understanding now that what we've been told to communicate with clients is always called servicing, because there's you have to go through a process and figure out exactly what the situation is. But it's my understanding now that those amounts could be tacked on at the end of the term. But the tricky thing on that, though, is you can't refinance. If someone's in forbearance, that amount has to be brought back to normal. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's where it's creating an issue for people. If they're just saying, hey, we're going into forbearance, we want to just avoid payments for the next 6 months, that amount would have to be brought back up to current in order to refinance if you were trying to do that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What are you? We've heard of some lenders that are actually calling, or the closing department is calling the employers to make sure that they're still employed as of the day of closing.
So that is a question, Jeff, and that's been a big issue we've actually had to hire a whole new team to basically, because the investors have said, hey, you need to verify that someone's still employed, because if you have someone were to be basically, if they were to claim forbearance between the time that the loan was originated and when it was sold to the investor, it creates an unsellable loan. And so now what we've had to do is say, even up to, some investors say within 10 days, I had one the other day, it was within 5 days, and from the note date, we had to verify that they were actually still employed. So what we've done is we've tried to automate as much of that as possible. There's verification services like Work Number. We can get updated pay stubs. It's just extra steps, because I don't think anyone's trying to to kind of work the system necessarily. We just have to verify that someone's income hasn't changed last minute. So
Interesting times.
Hey, Jeremy,
yeah, it's very interesting. So,
with buyers right now, we've had
Yep.
some of them trying to get into certain school districts as of recently, even though we don't know if we're going to be back at school.
Right.
With what it sounds like you're going through and all of the extra steps, do you still see 30 days as doable from your end?
yeah, so we're still closing purchases in some cases 20 to 30 days. I think I mentioned we're just prioritizing the purchase business.
Okay.
We never want to be the cause for someone to not be able to get a home. The main thing on that, though, Weston, is making sure, and this is where we've talked about this, just having a good, clean pre-approval on the front end always helps, because then we know how to approach, hey, what are we going to need? Like, is this a self-employed borrower? If that's the case, depending on how motivated they are,
Right.
and if they're able to get us those updated P&Ls and bank statements, and they're willing to do some of those extra steps, we can still do it. Refinances, we're recommending, the a little bit longer time frames because we're working within the purchase side. But I think, yeah, I mean, if we've got an opportunity to get someone closed and get them in the right house, and they're willing to help us out and get, we can move forward pretty quickly on stuff, we can still do it in less than 30 days.
It's interesting that one of the things that we like about working with you is that you do put people into that approval process right away. I mean, the minute
Right.
they call you, they need to start
Right.
filling out the application. And it's a very, the consumer reaction has varied from, oh, this is great, to people who went through the home buying process maybe 10 years ago. And,
Right.
it used to be, well, you'd pull their credit and you'd write their letter and then you'd,
Right.
and now,
Yeah, it's probably, I imagine some lenders do it a little bit differently than I am. I just think specific, because I try to be very, well, I think about what I would want, and you get so far down the line, you get emotionally invested on a property. Let's make sure that the agents that are involved in the process and the clients that are getting excited about the property they're looking to buy, let's make sure they can actually afford it and qualify for it.
Yeah.
And there are some weird nuances. And right now, technology, the way we have it today, it allows us to expedite that process. So it's really not that much more complicated. It just maybe can't catch some people off guard a little bit if they're thinking that they're going to wait to do the approval process until they're out of option. We try to set the right expectations on the front end and say, we've got to run these two processes in parallel to make sure that we're going to hit these deadlines on time. And everyone seems to really be on board with that. So
the ones that seem to be more shocked about the process now are the ones that bought their last home in 2007, 2008.
Oh, and yes, it is. If you have not done financing in a while, because they missed that whole 2008, 2009 fiasco when lending swung so far, and we've kind of come back in some ways. But I think I'm really proud. I'll just say I'm really proud of our industry. I'm particularly really proud of what we're doing as a company. Just handling everything that's been going on. I think we're still trying to take it and say, we want to help people get into homes. We want to communicate really well throughout the process and just avoid some of those gotchas. And that's where, as our team, let's do as much as we can on the front end to make sure everything's covered. So.
Well, before we wrap up, I would say that firsthand experience, I just closed with Jeremy 3 weeks ago, I think, and it went seamless. And at one point, I think that it was me, I'm pretty sure it was me, that was dragging and not getting stuff done per Jeff. He
Maybe it may have been you a little bit, Weston.
He literally looked at me and he goes, "You are not going to be the worst client that we have. Now get that filled out." And I was like, I forgot. Oh, sorry. But
that's why we have Jeff involved.
Oh, yes. But I will have to say
I appreciate that.
Carly and Kimberly and yourself,
Yes.
y'all were always there and answered every question. And I think that it went
thank you,
super
guys.
smooth, and we love the new systems that are in place, and it made it so much easier getting that loan done.
Yeah, I would just say, I know what I would communicate to your viewers, and I just so appreciate you guys. I mentioned this, what I think is so unique about you two is that you guys, when you go out and you work with clients, somehow you're able to get deals that other agents, I work with lots of different agents, so this is not a carte blanche statement, but you guys can get deals under contract quickly, and I love that about y'all. And we've talked about that a little bit, and I think that's a unique gift for you guys, and the way that you're able to negotiate and get to that next step. So that's a really big win for you all, and I appreciate the opportunity to always just really honored to get to work with you guys.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
We feel the
You
same.
bet.
Well, Jeremy, thanks for coming on the show again.
Absolutely,
we'll have you
guys.
back
Great
on
to
in a
see
couple
y'all.
of
Hopefully, we
months.
can all. Gosh, I'd love to happy hour sometime. I don't know how
kidding.
we'll
No
ever
kidding.
work, but
It may have to be 6 to 8 feet apart and going like this, but
yeah, it's just it's a unique time. But everybody stay safe and let us know if we can help with anything.
we'll do it. Thank you again, Jeremy. So Jeremy's contact
You bet.
information is
You guys
going to
take
come up on the screen here, and if you are in the market for a refinance or purchasing a home, reach out to Jeremy. The process they have really is pretty cool.
Yep, and it is firsthand experience. It is seamless white glove. So take advantage of our recommendation and get in touch with Jeremy.
So we hope you've enjoyed our show today, and if there are any topics or any guests that you'd like to have us have on, please write in the comments down there. We'll reach out and see if we can make that happen, and join us next week.
Yep, and remember, we want to be your realtors for life.